And the Zulu 24 podcast is brought to you by Antec Airsoft Studios. Whether your gun is broken in half or you want to create the craziest laser beam sniper rifle, reach out to Anthony over at Antec or head on over to his website, AntecAirsoftStudios.com. And also the snack bar. They serve hot food, cold food, red food, blue food, me food, you food. They have food. That's what they do. It's a snack bar. And Zulu Outdoor. It's an indoor store that's outdoor. So it's an outdoor-indoor store. Go figure that out. Guys, whether you need the latest piece of Gucci gear or you just need to rent something, reach out to Zulu Outdoor. You can head to their website, ZuluOutdoor.com. Or if you'd like to reserve rentals before a regular open play day, you can give them a call at 571-699-0766. And also Blue Mag Airsoft. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys are trying to make BBs right here in the United States. They do already make a high-quality BB. For more info on that type of stuff, head on over to BlueMagAirsoft.com. Ladies and gentlemen, also don't forget, whether you're listening to us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, or Google, make sure you drop a like and share this with your friends. It helps us defeat the algorithm, put us out there for more of you guys to hear us. Thank you. What's going on, guys and gals? Welcome to another edition of the Zulu 24 podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and today we have some special guests. Well, they're all special guests, let's be honest. They're all special for sure. We've got some refs, some current referees from Zulu, some not so current, and then the OGs over here. So I've got Tyler, OG ref from Zulu from day one. I got Anthony, who's like Gen X. And then I got Sean and Hoffman. You guys are like, I don't know, like the millennial, I guess.
Boomers.
The boomers. You guys are the boomers. You're already out.
That's accurate.
So welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast. And hope you have a great time. Let's get into this.
Get in it, Daddy.
So I just want to talk real quick about an experience I had yesterday. Super fun, super cool. You're all going to be super interested in my hot water heater going bad. This fucking thing. So hot water heater goes bad. And you know how they say like society is like 3 meals away or something like that from just total anarchy?
Yeah.
It's completely false. It's one hot water heater. I didn't have hot water for 6 hours, and I was ready to like go into the wilderness and become one with nature. And
was this the lovely 60-degree day?
It was beautiful out. Yeah, of course. I'm not going out in the woods when it's raining. So I go out, buy a new hot water heater because that's what you do. Install goes perfectly, and it doesn't work. The brand new hot water heater doesn't work. Super awesome, right? So I have to call the company. I'm furious at this point. I actually went outside and threw a bunch of axes and whatnot. Yeah.
At the Target, I hope.
Yeah, everywhere, in any and all directions. So anyway, long story short, they sold me a brand new hot water heater with a heating element that looked like it came from a fucking dumpster. This thing was bent up. It was insane. And of course, the lady on the phone was super nice, and she's from the South, so it's like hard to be mad at her. But needless to say, I have hot water. Nothing.
I'm proud of you. Did you get electrocuted at all when you changed it or no?
No, I'm not retarded.
I mean,
Is it gas?
No, it's electric.
Oh.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.
I have hot water. I have a hot water heater story. I went skiing 2 weekends ago, and I woke up in the middle of the night, me and my girlfriend, Kaylee, and I thought my room was filled with smoke inside my hotel room, and the fire alarm was going off and everything, and it just turned out like the hot water pipe busted in my room, and there was just steam all in my room. But like I told Kaylee, I was like, the hotel is on fire. We have to leave right now. And we started panicking.
Was that the sauna suite?
I guess so.
This was the weekend of attrition, so it was like 0 degrees outside too.
oh God.
Well, I think he was inside.
He was purposely in the cold for fun.
I know something you don't. I was told the story already.
Okay.
Cool.
Good one. I actually woke up in a house fire one time for reals, and it's all smoky and everything, and that shit is better than heroin and a cup of coffee. You will be wide awake, like when you actually think that you're in a house fire.
No, I woke up real quick. It was like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I was like, oh, it's just steam, and then I just got real sleepy. I was like, this is so stupid.
Steam, a little CO mixed in.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
All right. So did you guys hear about the UFOs being shot down? I know last time, Anthony, you basically saw a UFO on your way into wherever the fuck. It's time. Bust out your tinfoil hats.
I am the captain now.
There you go. For all those listening, the crinkling is a bunch of tinfoil hats that these guys are
Dave,
putting
I'm
on.
incredibly glad that you brought this up.
So
We
so,
can't.
So first there was the Chinese balloon, right? Spy balloon. I can't even look at you guys. Spy balloon, right?
You're very brave to talk about this without protection.
You're right. It's because I'm part of the conspiracy.
The government's gonna get you.
So they shot down 3 objects, right? Did anybody hear anything else about that? They were just
No.
objects,
It's
right?
in Canada, right?
They were definitely only weather balloons and
Yeah.
definitely nothing else.
Yeah.
So this was like a weird flip flop back and forth because originally China was like, no, it's not ours. And they're like, that was ours. Why'd you shoot it down? And now they're like, oh, it definitely wasn't maybe probably ours. But we also shot one down over us. So it was probably you guys too.
Oh, you're talking about the balloon. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the other 3 objects that are definitely not alien objects that the government keeps saying. "This is
I would
definitely
love
not
to know
alien."
what kind of research balloon can interfere with F-22 fucking computers and shit.
Here's an interesting thought,
Mhm.
right? If those are UFOs, like some next level technology, and we shot it down,
Mhm.
they need some better UFOs.
He's got a point. Actually,
Yeah,
He's
like-
actually got a point.
Unless that was their their early search party, like let's just send Ricky and Dale out there and see what they do.
That's their like RC helicopter
Yeah.
version of a fucking UFO spaceship that the aliens sent down before they send the fucking.
We're gonna let them think this is their good shit, but this is just like the stuff that's 50 years old.
So I almost have like 2 opinions on this one. So first being, what if it's just China trying to like test and see what happens? Like, what if we just send a couple things over there? Like, how are they going to react? Like, kind of probing to see the defenses, because that makes a lot of sense. The one that
Also
actually
derailing
makes,
trains.
also derailing train.
Yep.
But the one that makes more sense, what if it's North Korea? Like, you can't tell me that in a North Korean factory, they're just like, look, if it gets too high, like you can't see it. There's no way they're going to see it. And they just start sending it over there because they're still 20, 30 years behind us in technology.
Yeah, North Korea is still ramping up to go send troops to Ukraine. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Yeah,
I
I heard
heard
about that
about
one too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
they got time.
So the description of the actual objects and how they fly is consistent with every.
Balloon.
It's consistent with the most reliable, I'd say, UFO. Like, so Bob Lazar is a guy who supposedly worked
Commander
on UFOs.
Fravor that was on fucking Rogan. Who
Oh boy.
he was the guy who had the actual footage of the thing going from 50,000 feet to 5 feet in under a second.
Yeah, and they describe the physics of it and how
Yeah.
it has to create its own, basically, gravity bubble
Yep.
in order to fight against Earth's gravity. And it's some fucking technology we don't know about, so they have to use some radioactive element 115, which we've only successfully made like 4 atoms of, and it's the wrong isotope, and it was unstable, so we couldn't use it as fuel.
Yeah, it was like milliseconds. They
Yeah.
were able to make it milliseconds.
Yeah, so now
Need more tinfoil.
Yeah.
so now they describe these as one of them I think was a hexagonal or octagonal like prism, like disc kind of, that was
Uh-huh.
a hexagon or octagon, and it just floated. Now the thing, so all right, this is loaded. So the Navy footage that was released, that was filmed like 2008. That was like the declassified UFO thing that the Navy pilot got in thermals. You saw the object like moving. It was moving relative to the fucking jet that was flying. So it was moving fast. And then all of a sudden it just started fucking rotating.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck? How did it do that while still
Because
maintaining-
gravity's made up for that thing. Gravity's not real for the UFO.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah.
Well, so that has to mean that the technology exists. So either aliens have it or
I think
or
we
s-
have it, and
or
we-
we have it.
One hand wasn't talking to the other.
Or maybe nothing
Probably
got shot
happens.
down at all.
Yeah, I think it's fake.
That's
It's
what
like
they
the moon
want you to
landing.
think.
I'm more inclined to believe it's ours, like that humans made it because it was shot down. It's like we're playing with the technology, but we haven't weaponized it yet.
Well, Bob Lazar, I mean, Bob Lazar was in Area 51. God, in the 80s?
That's what he wants you to think.
Sure, whatever. But
It wasn't Area 51.
I thought it was Groom Lake.
It was
Oh, I'm sorry.
it was a different area.
Site S4.
S4.
Yeah.
That's right. But I mean, they were working with the propulsion system back then. They just didn't know how to make it work or how it worked.
Yeah.
So, according to him, now, I mean, you guys all got your proper protective gear on.
Goddamn right.
But there's some interesting stuff about Bob Lazar, though. He could be telling the truth. I don't know.
There's a YouTube video of a body language analyst basically reviewing Bob Lazar's 1990 documentary to his interview on Joe Rogan Experience, and he was saying, like, from a body language perspective,
He's not lying.
yeah,
No.
yeah, like if you have like a criminal,
But he could just be believing what he's saying.
Sure.
that he also said that in the video as well. He said that it could mean that, but the fact that the story is so consistent, and he just so happened to predict this element on the periodic table, which at the time did not exist on the periodic table, like he spoke about it.
That just rings off so many bullshit alarms in my head when you say that. Like, there's this element.
Element 115, it's on the periodic table.
I know. I'm sure it is. I'm not disputing that.
it has
but
like a long
it's like it has
rise.
it's a secret isotope that only this could do. Like, it's just.
Well, we used a hadron collider to produce some atoms of it.
The Hadron Collider didn't exist back then in the 80s.
No, but like afterwards,
115
we made
was
it.
115 was a very.
Bob Lazar's talking about 115, and it wasn't on the periodic table yet.
Okay.
So now the thought is like, okay, so there's this element 115. This guy's claiming that there's 300 pounds of a stable isotope of it that they were using as fuel for this gravity propulsion, flying vehicle, right? But we don't naturally produce that element in our solar system. Prior to now, because our solar system's really old, we didn't have half of the elements we had. And if you go even further back, we only had a couple of elements. So there are solar systems that do naturally produce element 115. It's just not ours.
Yeah.
So that thought that is naturally occurring somewhere and somehow it's here, and the idea of an alien bringing it over is like good news and bad news. It's like, oh, they're aliens. I guess they're sophisticated. But like, imagine you're trying to mine for like gold and steel and lithium and rare earth metals. And then you pass over some village, and the only resource you could mine from them is like chopping down trees. You're just going to pass over them. So aliens are just like, they don't have the fucking good shit. They don't have the shit that like makes our rockets move.
But would element 115 be laying on the ground? Like, I don't understand that.
According to Bob Lazar, there were like these like triangular prisms, either pyramid shaped or like prism shaped. And I don't know exactly how they fueled this thing.
So what you're saying is the pyramids are actually a fueling station for UFOs.
That makes the most sense of everything I just heard.
Yep.
Now I get it.
Okay.
I don't know about that, but
The pyramids are wild too.
the pyramids are wild. Well, the Sphinx is more wild than the pyramids.
I think the Sphinx is older than the pyramids.
No one knows how old the Sphinx is.
The Sphinx is
It's also
super
got
old.
water. It's also got like water erosion marks on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's limestone. So the amount of hundreds of thousands of years you need to erode limestone to have, the erosion that's present on the Sphinx, which presently is in the middle of a desert, has been in the middle of a fucking desert for as long as we can trace back to.
I thought limestone eroded very quickly.
I heard that too.
I don't know
depends-
shit about rocks.
In a desert.
Yeah, I don't
Next
know
to
shit
the
about
next to the Nile River,
Wind and sand.
which can flood.
The desert that used to be an ocean.
It's literally a
Yeah, but
giant
one-
sand blasting chamber.
Yeah.
But how far back was there an ocean there? Like how
20,
long ago?
30
Before
years,
humans,
at
probably.
20,
No,
30 years ago?
What are you talking about?
It's not pre-human.
It's
The
pre-pyramid.
river, there being an ocean there is probably pre-human. I don't think there was an ocean there.
I think
So
it's
what you're saying
it's
is
pre-
the movie Waterworld might actually be prehistoric, not post-historic.
Oh, good.
That is what
I
I'm
never
saying.
thought of it that way.
I think it's pre-biblical.
So they invented cigarettes. Then.
Yes.
Oh,
And gasoline.
and gasoline.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And then it all disappeared. There were dinosaurs, and then we did it again.
And then the Sasquatch happened.
And that's modern day.
Yes.
And now we're here and now.
And we're shooting down UFOs.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys all being here. I think we can go ahead and remove our protective gear.
that. You look like King Leonidas.
Medieval tinfoil hat.
I heard somebody poops inside.
Spartans!
Oh God.
Whew, sweating like a potato in there.
Baked potato man. All right, so let's get into it. Tyler,
That's me.
Tyler, Apple Store Tyler, as I call you, only because you're well dressed, and I think that you would work in a Apple Store, right?
Other people have confirmed once I've told them that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to have a mic. Oh
Yeah.
God. Sorry.
You're fine.
Bang, 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 bang.
It's only everybody listening's eardrums. It's fine.
Yeah, like every time you guys tap.
So look, you were old school, man. You were in the beginning. Actually, you're before my time. That's how old
Yes.
you are. You guys you were the first refs. You and Danny, right?
Me, Danny,
Oh.
Andrew, and Andrew's brother, also Danny.
Yeah.
Little Danny.
So what I have to ask, knowing who the owners were back then,
Uh-huh.
I have to ask, how was like the initial setup, walking like how was all that stuff?
I remember actually visiting the field with them. I remember it was Andrew's dad, Phil, Mario, and Danny and Andrew were into playing Airsoft. And what they did to play Airsoft is they didn't know the rules. They just played on the street in their town until one day that blew up in their face. And when Mario comes on the podcast, he could tell the story. I don't want to ruin it for him. You can imagine why playing with airsoft guns in public is probably not a good idea.
Especially where they live.
So they were really into this, and they didn't have anywhere to play. Like, I had one friend who had a backyard that had like a decent amount of property and some cool neighbors, so it wasn't a big deal. But like, you can't play with a bunch of people there. So I remember going with them to go visit the property, and they liked the property, and they had a meeting and all that. And they were like trying to work out like the expenses of everything to buy it and actually run a field. And I was there at that meeting with Danny and Andrew, and yeah, I was just there for it all. And then when we got to the field, I remember building the field. We're just putting like, we had no idea what we were doing, obviously. Like no one,
Yeah.
It's not like a normal business. So we just kind of like eyeballed it, just started building a building and go, okay, that looks good. Like where we want the next one in relation to each other. And that was it. And I just helped move stuff. And I was just super into airsoft, so I was just glad to help, and I was glad to have a friend who was into airsoft, where his dad was into airsoft, that he could build a field for us. So that was pretty. So yeah.
So now didn't when you guys were doing at the old field, we used to have the what was it called? Fuel depot, not the fuel depot. What was it called?
Oil rig.
Oil rig.
Same
Oil
thing.
rig.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like the big oil derrick tower that you guys put up. Like, did somebody almost die putting that up? Like, what happened with that?
I wasn't there when it got built. I wish
Okay,
I
next
wish I had a good start.
Okay,
I wasn't there for that.
So then now, how have you seen? I mean, Zulu's obviously changed and grown a lot, but I mean, from your time there, because for those who don't know, Tyler's had worked for Zulu for, God,
Full decade.
10 years.
Yep.
10 years. I have to pay him retirement.
He's in the pension system now?
He's got to be, right?
Shit, I got out too early.
Yeah. So I mean, how like what are the things about Zulu that you like? What are the things about Zulu that you don't like? In terms of the change you've seen over the years.
Things about Zulu that I like is I think it's really like, I've been to every field in New Jersey, and I've been to Zulu, and I've been to New York Sports Paintball, which they had like ops there. They had like what was that one that Moondog ran?
Bad
Big
Blood.
one. Bad Blood.
Yeah.
I've been to that. And I don't know. Zulu is always the most professional. Like the other airsoft fields in New Jersey, I don't know what it's like in the rest of the United States. Just didn't cut it. Like you would go. Like I don't know if you guys ever been to Godfather's, like the outdoor field.
No.
Yeah.
Can we? I don't want to talk shit. Can we talk shit about?
I don't
We
think.
can talk about a field.
It doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think they.
Oh, it doesn't exist?
I almost worked for Godfather. That's a different story.
If it doesn't exist, then fire away.
Okay. Well, it's not even. I'm not even shitting on it. This is objectively what it was. You would go there and you would pay to go onto the property, and then they just left it up to the players. It's like, okay, you paid, and that's it. And you would just okay.
Complete
So like,
lawlessness.
so all the players are just like, all right, I guess I'm on this team, and I guess this will be the game. Like there was no direction. You just no checking of safety. Like the dude would just let his dog run throughout the property, and just like you might have shot. The dog didn't have like goggles on or anything. It was just ridiculous. And Zulu was like, oh, they have staff, and like they want to improve their field so it's better. Like that was a rare thing. Like I don't think people believe they can turn it into a legit business. So, and I think Zulu was the first one that's like, oh, maybe we can make something out of this.
So now, in terms of professionalism, because it was before my time, was that like stated in the beginning, like, hey, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this professionally, like to you guys?
It was never stated, but that was always the vibe. Like they gave us uniforms, they created a rule set, they were there every day, like they were putting in the effort.
Yeah,
not like, okay, pay me to go on the property and then see you, like do whatever you want. Like, so yeah, it was just it was never expressly stated. It was just how they acted, and it was clearly like they were trying to make this something.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, so the next generation, as I'll call you, the Star Trek, the next generation of referees that we have here. We got Sean and Hoff over here. These two grizzled Zulu veterans. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
So, oh man, I meant to ask. I'll ask Tyler in a minute. So what was your experience?
From the beginning?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Let's get into it.
I remember when I met Sean too.
I have zero recollection of ever meeting you, like before reffing. So I started playing in Zulu in 2013, 2014 probably. Me and my friends loved it. It was a great field. And then I was bored. I'm like, I wonder if they need refs. And then you guys put out a Facebook thing. I think it was right when you probably also came on as an owner.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're looking for refs. I'm like, dope. I'm going to ask about it. So I go in and I talked to Phil. Phil's like, you're hired. So my first weekend reffing was by far the worst time I've ever had reffing.
It had to break you in.
Because I was a volunteer.
Nice.
Yeah. It was probably December, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Snowing. And in the middle of CQB was a 15-foot tall tower that one of the refs would go in, and I know some listeners are going to remember this. I was so cold. I knew nothing about like layering or proper outdoor attire. I was wearing like a sweatshirt and like really shitty like 10-year-old cotton long johns. And Dave's like, Sean, get in the fucking tower. I'm like, okay, fuck my life. So fast forward, and I continued volunteering at Zulu. It was a good time. I met this fucking douchebag. Grumpiest 28-year-old ever.
So we actually met Hoffman, or I did anyway, at
OpEx.
Was it OpEx or was it the one before that?
No, so I had been coming to Old Zulu for a little bit.
Yep, I remember
And-
you lost your phone in the field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and got 2 teeth shot out in the same day.
Hell yeah.
Separate occasions.
Nice.
And then we went to OpEx in Chester.
That's right.
And I didn't register with Zulu, but I went and my squad was absolutely awful at doing anything. And you guys were like doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I happened to be a medic. So you guys were like, ooh, an extra medic? Sure, you can tag along.
That's
So I
right.
just-
You made that video, The Life of a Milsim Medic. You're just loading mags.
It's 20 minutes of loading mags and checking people and medicing it.
No, I remember you had that black Crown Vic with all
Mhm.
the sweet little buttons and stuff. And you jumped over the hood.
Yeah.
And I think somebody took a picture
I
or
think
something.
Did you get a picture? I think Tyler
It
might
was
have.
Danny. Danny always
Danny got a
camera.
picture?
Yeah. And I was like, we got to hire this guy. Just like, this is amazing.
And then like 3 years later, he finally did.
Yeah. Was it 3 years?
Because we're still at the old field.
No,
We're not- no?
it was right when we started the new field. You guys went to a Third Coast game
That's right.
and you were like, ooh, we're short on refs. Hoff, would you like to start reffing? I was like, okay. So my first weekend, there were no owners at the field.
Nice.
Trial by fire, you know.
Oh my God.
Who else did you work with?
Joe, and I don't know, we might have only had 2 on back.
We had 2 for a long time.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Probably too long, actually.
And it was cold because we did the safety brief by the fire pit because it was like freezing and there were 10 players. So
Oh man.
That has not been the case this year.
No.
So we went down to 3 refs because it's February,
Mhm.
and I instantly regret that. Every weekend we've had 70 plus people.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That's the
I mean, good for
wildest.
you though.
That's the wildest thing about Zulu, is it could be June and the most picturesque, like 75, 80-degree day. Zero, like you'll get 15 players.
Yeah.
April, 41 degrees and raining, 150 people show up.
Yeah.
Battle for trenches.
Yeah.
Sean, make him quit.
Make him quit.
Yeah, there'll be like a group of players that came from like Massachusetts just
Oh
to
my
check out
God.
the field, and they're like, "I'm not leaving." Like, they came all the way up here.
I paid $25 to be here. I'm not fucking leaving.
We got hotel rooms. I ain't going nowhere. God damn it. So then, so we move on, progress from the grumpy old men now to the new age. The new age referees, represented here by Anthony.
I'm not even the newest age ref.
You're not the newest age ref, but you're in chronological order. I guess you're next.
Yeah.
So, what was your experience first days? Huh?
My experience was so I was going there teching my table and everything, and I was approaching 18. As I was like getting close to being 18, I kept like asking Mario like, "Hey, you hiring refs or whatever?" And he eventually just like let me do that. So I shadowed for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then I didn't get paid what everybody else got paid until I was like reliable. You were like, I was
Last week.
I was so Mario hired me. I was
You guys
convinced.
got paid?
I think Dave's still not paying Anthony.
Yeah. I haven't been paid to ref at all. Every time you see me out there, it's love.
That's not
That's
true,
not
by the
true.
way.
For legal reasons.
It's not true.
It's called indentured servitude.
Yeah.
Wasn't that made illegal? Never mind.
Yeah, so Mario hired me, and I was convinced you hated me. I was like, Dave fucking hates me because David. Yeah, hazing's important though, and I didn't get hazed, but he was like, "Do your fucking job," like, you know. And I was young.
You know what it was? It was that you were part of that new generation of just ADD riddled, can't focus on anything, has to constantly be told to do stuff. Even and it's not like you were standing around. You were like bouncing everywhere, but you're just doing the wrong shit.
Yeah.
Like it's,
You once said I was lost in the sauce.
you're lost in the sauce, man. You're everywhere and nowhere at once. You're like that movie, Anything, Everything, All at Once, or whatever. Like that.
I love
That's-
that movie.
That's you. You're the hot dog fingers.
I remember I kept wanting to like. So I was seeing what Hoffman was doing, what Sean was doing, what Tyler was doing, and I was like,
don't do what I do.
yeah.
Don't do what I did.
So like, you know, I was like, well, you know, they seem to be getting along fine, so I should do what they're doing. So like, when I would see Sean go up to players with the megaphone and be like, "You ready to play? You ready to play yet?" I'd be like, "Oh, he's motivating them. That's what Dave Mario want. They want us to motivate the players to play." So I was like, I guess I'll do that. I guess that's kosher. So
I would do it to the kids I knew could take it. I wouldn't just do it to anyone.
yeah. I have to say your joke with you need a machete and a flamethrower to get through the pricker bushes.
Yeah.
I think it's still being used to this day.
I still use that. In
And
my
also-
safety briefs.
What about the O.J. Simpson one with the gloves?
I try to avoid.
Oh,
that.
if it does
line
not
shoot
fit,
through.
you must have quit. That's outdated now. You need a
No, it's
Did you not know about that?
No. What'd you say?
So during the safety brief, you can't fire through any hole smaller than your open hand.
Sure.
So I'd be like, if you cannot fit your open hand through the small holes, much like O.J. Simpson, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Now start doing this and like make a fisting motion and stuff.
That's all right. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try and avoid that one, but I still use the machete and a flamethrower.
Good.
You know what's funny about that whole pricker bush flamethrower thing?
There aren't any pricker
They're
bushes
gone.
out there yet.
They're fucking gone. It's like some disease came through, or some elves with flamethrowers and got rid of them. They're freaking gone.
And it knocked down all those trees back there too.
Yeah, right.
In that
there's
one
so
little
many.
spot.
Yeah, it's like this porous area now. It's all right because I'm looking into leasing that part of the property, but yeah, so we got to change that actually.
Nice. Do you own that part of the property where the pricker bushes?
So the Ho Chi Minh Trail is like, so like the property line is like another 50 feet
Gotcha.
beyond the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Okay.
But
How is the ground out there? Is it marshy or it's dry?
mix of both. Like on the north end, it's pretty dry. I actually walked it one time. North end's pretty dry, but once you get down towards power lines, it turns into like full fledged like
Towards like Fisherman Shack.
predator. Yeah, like predator swamp. I got some cool ideas though.
But yeah, so so I was pretty good at chronoing. I did that. I took pride in that. I got to shoot a bunch of people's guns.
Nice segue, Anthony.
Yeah, I didn't finish my story.
Go ahead.
So
Finish up.
I remember we used to set up like tarp tents every morning.
Oh my god.
Now we have the metal
worst.
pavilion.
I did that
Uh,
for you guys.
Thank you.
I did that for you guys. I don't think anybody listening understands the pain because I did it once also before I made you guys do it.
Uh-huh.
And like,
Were you there when we had to set them all up, Dave?
yeah,
Were you?
yeah. No. Mario and I were up filling sandbags.
Yeah, and Phil was down there setting them up. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so the tarps were rolled up because if we left the tarps on, then the wind would just carry them away.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to unroll them every Sunday night and re-roll them every Saturday morning. And that also included in the wintertime when there was ice and shit all in there. And they were held on by these like bungee cords with
Balls on the
like
end
these
of
little
them.
balls.
Plastic balls.
So
Oh my
and some of them were
God.
pretty tight. So when you undid it, those little balls would wrap around the pole and smack your knuckles, your fingers.
Yep.
And when it's cold,
And some people were way better
Oh.
rolling the tarps up than the others.
yeah.
And that's why I always work Sundays.
yeah. And I remember we had the steel barrels to keep warm
Oh, the
It
birds.
was
the
real
bird
simple.
barrels.
Oh,
Right
those
back
burn
then.
barrels.
before there was a fire pit. I remember Mario, like every day, he'd be like, hey, Aunt, can you walk the field, take the bucket, you know? So I was like, every morning, I was like, maybe if I just got here super early before everybody, I wouldn't be asked to go to the field and pick up the trash. And I was still fucking asked to do it. every
Well,
time.
yeah, because you're one of these. Oh, this. So there's a weird thing about the refs that live close. They're always late.
Yeah.
The guys that live far away are here on time. The guys who live close are like, it's like,
Because there might be traffic from far away.
yeah,
So you
but
can leave earlier.
but like, come on, man. Anyway, that's just a
Don't-
pet peeve of mine.
Don't worry, he works with me now. He's still always late.
Why?
Yo, I was-
Why are you?
I was
How?
late. I have a super valid excuse now.
No, there's no such thing as a valid excuse.
No. In the smart world
Well-
that we live in,
Like I showed up late to my own business today, which I have every right to do. And I was getting my kid ready. So boom. There you go. I can do
and so you were late to work because you had to put your gear together.
gear?
What are you talking about?
He
Kid?
said his kid.
My kid.
Oh, your kid.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
now I have a good excuse.
you said kid.
Yeah. So I can show up
It's
late.
not a
to-
good excuse. for
Well,
you to
it's
have a
it's
wife.
no excuse. It's no excuse to show up late when you're working for somebody else because the agreement and the understanding is that you're going to show up on time. So when you don't do that, you're breaking the agreement.
Sure.
When you work for yourself, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't mean you should, but it means that if you have to get your kid ready and you show up a little bit late that day, you have every fucking right to do it. It's America.
All right.
Just don't break any agreements.
So look, this is a question posed to everybody, right? What we'll do it in two ways. So, what's the best experience you've had as a ref?
I don't know if I can talk
do.
about it. I
remember-
fucking have it.
I remember all the times I've been scorned, not the best times.
Well, everybody remembers the guy who flips you off on the way to work.
Yeah.
You don't remember the. So I'll tell you this: went back when I was on the field a lot more, and actually in a ref capacity. There was specifically, and it was at the new field. Actually, I was taking pictures, and I watched 7 random players all come together, make a plan, and execute that plan. They got murdered, but I was like, I was so like my heart swelled because I was like, thank you. Somebody's trying to work together. And I still remember that to this day. It was freaking like 2 rentals, 2 guys who had all the gear and then like a mishmash in between. And they were just like, okay, let's do this. We'll do cover fire. And the guy actually did cover fire. He didn't just shoot. And as soon as they started running, they left. It was great. It was at the mosque, but they got murdered. Yeah.
It's always fun to do that, but I never want to come off as this guy who's like the super try hard, who's like, we're like, like I just want to like go have fun, So sometimes that is fun, and I wish I could. I can, and I probably have before. I just not remembering, but like, you know what I mean, though.
It sounds like you're worried about what other people think.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't.
You're letting other people hold you back.
I'm the commander.
But but you know what? See, you know what I'm talking about. The people who try to like take charge and like.
Well, sure, but at the very least, those people are trying to get it moving. You know what I mean? They're trying to. I mean, everybody's got a different leadership style, and there are good ones and there are bad ones, and for the most part, it's just whoever's the loudest is the rightest, right? It's like the worst leadership style ever.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's usually how it like manifests in an airsoft game is somebody just yells, and nobody likes somebody yelling.
Yeah.
But these guys like remove themselves from the fight, behind like appropriate cover. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna do this. You guys do that. And like everybody did the thing that they said they were gonna do, and it worked. Like they made it far enough, and then Airsoft happened, and they all died. But I just did a slow clap in my head, like
No, that's awesome.
yeah, man.
No, it's definitely cool when you see players actually like do something cool, like, or just like sometimes I think the cool moments are like you see a player just like sweep the other team. Like those are always cool because you just watch them sneak around. They're like, oh my god, these guys are so prepared.
Or you watch someone walk by, like someone in a ghillie suit, but actually took the time to make the ghillie suit look good.
Yeah.
And then someone like walks right on top of them, doesn't see him.
Yeah, that's always fun.
So at the old field, there was regular open play day, nothing special. There was this like 13-year-old girl with like a dark purple M4 that was just absolutely murdering everybody, and it was the funniest thing to watch because you'd had like these guys who, and I'm, we're all guilty of it. They show up to open play and like the Gucciest of the Gucci, right? It's like the 15-year-old gets out of his mom's minivan and decked out in full cry.
Yeah.
Have fun at war, sweetie. Right? Just getting murked by this fucking 13-year-old with a purple M4 because he was too worried about like his urban prone, and she just ran around the corner and shot him.
So I guess that leads into the next part, which I'm sure you guys have plenty of examples.
Oh yeah.
Worst days, worst things you've seen as a ref. Oof. I'll start off by this. What's the worst thing a player can say or do on the field? Like just off the top of your head.
Call your head. I'm a grown ass man.
We're all dead.
Because that typically follows them doing.
That's always a good one.
We're all dead is the worst thing you could possibly say. It's happened to me more than 10 times. And it doesn't matter, not just at Zulu, but also like national events, that type of thing. And they're like, we're all dead. You go in there, and there's always that one jackass who's not dead. And then it just starts this whole big freaking fight. And
The rules say hit or medic. That's all you can say. If you say anything besides that, you're wrong.
the rules at Zulu say that. That's not everywhere, right?
Well, people say that because they don't want to get overshot. They should just move, get out of the way instead of.
Well, people have zero
Out of the
situational
line of
awareness, so they don't realize there's like 3 guys in the next room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
We're
think
all dead is the worst.
I think the worst experience I had reffing, and this is the day you gave like a fucking speech, which you never fucking do. You never like.
Speech about what?
There was like something in the water that day.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Just
just
like a
such-
year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was just like all day for the whole day. There was not a fucking moment where there wasn't somebody bitching. Call your fucking hit, or I fucking hit you. And and like it was just, and it was awful. It was just it was a
Well, I mean, that day, Dave, you and I played because we were out in the woods laying behind the trenches and we were just listening to it. Everyone screaming back and forth. I shot you. No, I shot you. Call your hits. Like all this back and forth. And like halfway through that game, you look at me like, we have to have a talk with all the players.
Yeah, I mean, if there's 3 words that should never exist in Airsoft, it's call your hits. It's the dumbest thing you can say. It's not gonna convince that person to call their hits. You know what I mean? Like, it's a terrible slogan if you're a business. Like, it's the dumbest thing you can say. And we went to that event in PA.
Oh.
And it was like game on, call your hits. And you're like, wow, we haven't even gotten out of spot. And it was like that all day, and it just ruined the mood of the entire op. And I mean, that's why we don't allow it with Zulu too.
That was OpX. OpX was the most toxic Airsoft game I went to.
Oh, at Monmouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like I had to. I had
Oh.
to like sit down and take a break. I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, like, tensions are high. Like,
I got
The Flying Falcon punch game?
yeah.
yeah. That video.
Rich Moore almost about to punch somebody.
Yeah.
And I was next to him, just like,
I got pushed coming around a corner one time, and Sean and I died in that room, and those 3 kids were in there, and the one kid's like,
the red fist patches?
they were like, hit me, I'm a minor.
Oh my god. Oh my
man.
god.
that's always a good one.
Hit me, I'm a minor. You're not always going to be a minor, kid. Like
And
that's
some people don't give a fuck that you're a minor.
Yeah.
You're gonna get fucked up.
They were and what's great is that they prefaced all that by screaming at the top of their lungs, call your hits. And I
We're
look
all
at
in there dead.
yeah, I look at Sean. He's got his dead light on. I had my dead light on. I was like, yeah, we're all dead. We did.
Yeah.
You know.
There was an outside producer years ago, and I already know who this is.
No.
Yeah.
I already know
I'm
who
not
this
going to
is.
say the name, but I invented.
I will.
I invented a game mode.
Sounds like
I invented a game mode called.
Does it start with a J?
It rhymes with JCat, kind of.
Done to that.
It's
All right.
the same
Hats off
word.
for that one, but no.
So I made a game mode called sodium chloride, and it never stuck. But it was amazing that day. So the guy, it was like an event, and it was very meticulous in the rule set. Like it was a script. Like you could almost make a South Park character out of the guy that was like.
Me and Jordan played that game.
That was one of the only times we got kicked off our own field.
And this game, like those walk-on players who had no idea what was going on. Camo was a fucking mess. It's like typical things that ruin ops. And this was like giving everybody a fucking cake. Like they spent money on a fucking cake. You give them their cake, you delivered the cake, but they can't eat it. And you're like restraining them from eating the fucking cake. That was this game. And people were waiting around, not doing anything. They were complaining. They got yelled at for shooting at people on the other team.
Because the ROE made absolutely 0 sense. Because one team was full camo.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what color the camo was, as long as you had matching top and bottom. One team was mismatched camo.
Okay.
So if you could,
Yeah.
so if you had a multicam top and woodland bottoms, you were on that team.
Those people have never played Airsoft.
Or if you
whoever
had a
made that
brown
rule.
T-shirt and woodland pants, you were
Yes.
on that team.
Correct.
And one was mixed camo and black boots.
No, and the other one was a civilian team, which like no one really knew about because it wasn't really in the rules all that well, and you weren't supposed to shoot at the civilian team, but
Yeah,
they could
don't
shoot
forget
at you.
the NPCs.
So
Yeah.
that day, me and Little Dave were like reffing at the capacity we were supposed to ref for this. So we were like doing chrono and safety stuff. We weren't like running the game. And people kept like complaining to us, and they're like, they want a refund. And I was like, Dave.
We did a lot of refunds that day.
And eventually the guy just like fucking threw the towel in, and there was like an hour or something left in the day, or like 2 hours left. And me and Little Dave just like did this modified conquest game and added objectives and just gave everybody shit to do. And everybody was just so excited that it was something other than what the fuck they've been doing all day, that they just embraced whatever stupid fucking objective we gave them, and it was fun. So I called it sodium chloride. But when we tried to implement that game on a fresh crowd that wasn't frustrated with the way things were going already, they were like, not with the objective.
Can you describe what sodium chloride is?
Salt. The salt levels were so fucking high.
What were the game
What
objectives?
was the game objective other than
It was like modified conquest. Obviously, you want to raise flags, but we would like put a dummy out with like a note. Like it was like a
saving Ryan's privates?
a collage of all the games that we would run. There was like a Hank of the Hill elements. Like we just gave them shit to do when they were shooting at each other and they had fun, and it was a good save.
That's all Airsoft did.
That was actually not the worst experience. Fucking Dave's mom was on the
day
field
that
with
we
me.
yelled at Dave's mom.
Yeah, me and
Yeah.
Jordan were reffing. Okay, and here's this.
Bro,
here's this-
Crossroads. So it's in the middle of the Crossroads event. I forget what year this is, but we
You
didn't
can't
have the
remember
lower
that,
half
too.
of the field. And we're like walking through CQB. The helicopter's flying over. There's a dude in it with like a 249 blasting out. And I just look, and there's this polite woman just standing right there with her iPad, like full-size iPad,
Yeah.
taking photos and videos. And I just look at Anthony like nothing happened. I stop and go, wait, what? We both look and go, that woman has no iPro on immediately. Like Anthony's yelling real world. We're calling ceasefire,
Yeah.
like trying to radio the helicopter. And I'm like, ma'am, you need to get off the field. And she's just like, oh, no, it's fine. My son works here. And Anthony and I are both like, we don't care who your fucking son is.
Yeah.
Get off the goddamn field. And she's like, it's fine. We're like, no, it's not fine.
And she was
Get
wearing
off the field.
flats. She was wearing flats, like no socks. And I had her take like the ridge line between CQB and where Newtown is, because it was the safest way to take her for her eyes. And I'm like,
We're
holding
like
my hand,
trying
walking
to
her down.
stop the
And I hear
game
on the
and
radio-
escort this old woman.
I heard on the radio, Dave, is that your fucking mom on the field? I was like, oh, I was like, your son's gonna fire me.
That's such a mom thing to do.
Like
Oh,
10
man.
minutes go by, game goes on. Anthony walks up to me and he's like, are we in trouble? I'm like, I don't know, man. I think we might be done after that
Your
one.
mom was so sweet too. I was like, your son's gonna fire me. She's like, no, I won't let him do that.
That's hilarious.
She did, and I tried to fire you.
And this was still at that point where I was like, this was around the time where I was like, I was like, Dave fucking hates me. I was like, I'm only here because I'm Mario. Yeah. So I was like, and now your mom's on the field without iPro, and like, I was like, fuck. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, we still talk about that actually.
Oh my god, that was so funny. And I remember having that conversation with you. I was like, I'm really sorry for screaming at your mom. And you're like, no, you were right. She deserved that one. Like, I will never be mad at you if you're right.
I had to explain to her like, hey, because she was like, what? They're just shooting little BBs or something. Like,
It'll take your eye.
I was like, Mom, you can be blind, and you made it this far with 2 eyes. Let's not try to exacerbate that. I was like, also, next time, get me first. Like, don't go up on the field. She knows now. She's good now, but
That was the craziest.
How embarrassing would it be to say, why are you blind? Oh, well, I went up to take some pictures with my iPad and I got shot in the eye.
Like full iPad, just like taking videos and photos. I'm like, how's the camera quality on that, by the way?
Very proud mom
better.
doing that.
Oh yeah, she did.
She made cupcakes one year.
Love my mommy. Yeah,
Yeah.
she made cupcakes for one of the Zulu anniversary. I can't remember. It was the 10th, maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, she made all
That would
sorts
have
of
been
stuff.
2021. Was it?
No, probably not then.
Or no?
Might have been before that. It doesn't matter. But she made cupcakes, and I love her.
She let you borrow the RV. You're like, Mom.
Oh,
Sunseeker.
Me and my friends are gonna go on an airsoft trip. I'm gonna borrow the RV.
That I mean, that's a story in itself on the way back.
Oh, yeah.
How we're alive.
God.
How we're alive, I'll never know. I threaded. I mean, how wide is that vehicle, man?
The
Well,
exact width of a road lane. Like,
yeah, like oh man,
plus 2 inches. Yeah.
yeah, maybe. So the lady in front, so there's 2 cars in front of me. I'm super comfortable driving this thing, this motorhome, and so I'm doing 75, right? Probably not a good idea.
that's
but
fine.
I'm doing 75. We're trying
From
to,
New York.
yeah, we're trying to get home, man.
Professional.
And
Exterior width 101 inches.
there you go.
That's a lot.
So yeah, what's a lane?
Did you just look
105.
up width of
that's
the
10
Sunseeker?
or 12
Yeah,
feet.
I
depends.
did.
I think it's 12.
That's
feet.
my job, man. Come on.
So the car in front of me was a black car. The car in front of the black car was a white car, right?
And this is at night.
This is at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're in the passing lane. So
This is after a 40-hour op.
yeah, so I'm wide awake,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Super like my reflexes are good, right?
Arguably one of the most miserable 40 hour
For legal reasons, completely awake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
completely awake. So
Fine.
the first white car was mad at the second car because they were tailgating him because they were doing like 70 in the passing lane, which is a no-no.
Straight to jail.
Yeah. Right. So then the first car brake checks the second car.
Yep.
And by brake checks, I mean puts on the freaking e-brake
Oh my
and
god.
stops. And the little black car behind it just weaved around.
Yeah.
Well, I'm driving, and now there's a parked car in front of me. And I'm like, so I hit the brakes, I tap the brakes. Back wheels lock right up. So I immediately take my foot off the brakes because I'm like, that's not an option right now. It's not viable. And so I was like, if I rear end this person, I'm gonna kill them. We're screaming. We're doing at least 70 miles an hour at this point, right? Maybe 50 because I tapped the brakes, right? And so like all I could do was either hit like the
Rumble strips.
reflectors
Oh, yeah.
on the side of the highway. And in my head, I was like, well, sideswipe her, and then it'll just be a battle to keep this vehicle upright. Like, because if we go over, it's going to be carnage. Because they build those things out of like wet paper bags.
Tinfoil.
Yeah. And so there's like a parked car, right? And all I did was a twitch. I twitched the wheel to the left just slightly, and somehow, by the grace of God, like we didn't hit the car. Good thing. And we also didn't hit the reflectors on the side of the road. It was like I saw Mario was in the passenger seat up front, and I saw him do one of these in the seat. he was like bracing for impact, right? Because you've got the wheel width, but also I mean it's a Sunseeker, so it's got like the box is wider than the wheelbase.
Yep.
So he's like, us in the cab, we're gonna be okay, but it's gonna rip the side of this thing off. And we had like 7 dudes in there, like 2 were up in the
Yeah.
Like,
Toast and
Definitely
Connor were up
definitely
top.
all wearing seatbelts, right?
Was everyone
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
thrown around? Just like
now. So I mean, everybody's wearing
Who's in the
seatbelts.
bathroom?
Oh, yeah,
There's someone in the bathroom.
Petruzzi.
Petruzzi.
He was in the bathroom. He got rocked off the toilet seat. Josue was laying in the bed, and when I tapped the brakes, he basically just cartooned straight off and down. So we get through there, and I'm like, holy crap, we didn't hit anything. And then I smashed the gas because I was like, the carnage is going to happen behind us. I don't want it to catch up with us. And I just smashed the gas and we went. And then every time after that, Mario was like the concerned mom. Like every time somebody would get in front, he'd be like, remember. Remember
He's really wanting to be making you
Yeah,
very
right.
cautiously. Yeah.
Yeah, his 0 to 60 Audi in like 1.5 seconds in a left-hand turn.
Or black Ford rental vans
Oh God, dude.
flying down.
Or a ball car.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But for
That's
clarification, Hoffman, a general width for road length is 120 inches. So it's not
I'm
the
glad
12
to know
feet.
that.
12 feet.
Yeah.
No, it's
No, it's 10 feet.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, 10 feet.
Yeah.
10 feet.
I think highway lanes are usually a little wider for tractor trailers and shit.
So I'm reading on.
But how wide is the shoulder? I think is the question here.
Oh, I couldn't find that.
Yeah.
Well, regardless,
It
I
varies.
threaded the goddamn needle
Yeah.
with a.
First and last time with the Sunseeker.
Yeah, they
to
sold
an
it.
event.
They actually sold it after that, and it was
Surprise,
funny
surprise.
when I got back. I had to go to dinner like that night that we got back because I dropped off the Sunseeker, and we sat down to dinner, and they're like, "How'd it go?" And I'm like, I'm still white in the face, you know. Like, and I was like, "You may want to check the rear brakes." And
And the driver's seat.
and the passenger seat. Mario was shitting a brick over there too, and they had it checked out, and my stepdad was like, "Yes, the back brakes were seized." I was like, "Oh, well, you know, I have no idea how that happened."
That explains that.
No, I told him.
Yeah.
But so you guys just got back from an op, huh?
could you even call it that?
An op. Yeah. Yeah, we went to one.
At the mall.
Yeah.
Oh, that looked
And-
cool. I saw that.
It was a cool
It
video.
looked cool.
Since
The
I'm
video
no
came
longer
out cool.
affiliated, can I talk shit?
There's no need to say the producer.
It rhymes with schmon schmoo.
He was
Okay.
actually there.
Bleep that.
Which was the first.
It's fine.
Redacted.
So yeah, the one thing I noticed from you guys' video was that Sean, I think it's Sean's camera quality is garbo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a 6-year-old contour that I bought used.
Yeah, so like everything that you had, like the lighting was appropriate, and then
Yep.
when it switched to Sean, it
Yep,
was like
awful.
yellowed out. It's
Yep.
like
Yeah.
it was like a smoker's bedroom.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's what it looked like. It's like the smoking room in the airports. Like everything's just freaking brown.
I bought it used on eBay, the contour, and I think when I bought it 3 or 4 years ago, it was already 4 or 5 years old at that point.
Nice.
Do you know
Video-
what model it is?
I have no fucking.
So that might
It's a
also be
contour.
the settings on the contour because way back there used to be a contour
App.
computer program that you
Yep.
would connect your camera to adjust your white balance and your lighting and all this other stuff. If that was set up for like super sunny outdoor, that would explain why it's like slightly yellow tinted and really dark when you're in a hallway.
Nah,
I
he
just plug it into the charger and then give it to you when I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
So next time I
you
have
can fuck
the-
with it.
Yeah, I have the program on my computer. I'll
he had
pick
the he had
contour.
the sepia
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
filter on there. It looked awful. But
Well, if anyone from Contour is listening, we miss you and we want you back.
Yeah, they went out
Yeah,
of
for
business
real.
for like a third time.
I'm
So,
surprised.
Sad.
I see them everywhere. The contour cameras. Like, how are they unsuccessful?
and then
So-
Because
People
they're
covet them.
only good for airsoft or anything requiring a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
what
guess.
you see on the market is what's left. Contour went out of business like 2 or 3 times over.
So you're
saying the
supply, the demand is up and the supply is down.
Yes,
Sell.
give or take. The problem is compared to modern day action cameras, Contour is
Trash.
garbage.
Is there a
Like-
modern day equivalent to a contour?
I've
There's
been
some
looking.
Smidgy,
Sony.
Smidgy has one that's like.
Yeah,
contour,
there's
but
that.
off-
Did you call him Smidgy?
That's what everyone calls him.
Smiggy.
Smiggy.
Oh, whatever.
Two G's is a guh.
Look, man,
Or-
I haven't been around in a while.
Senor
Either way,
Testicles.
yeah. So the camera that he has is kind of like the new-ish
Testicles.
version. Like it does the same thing and it mounts in the same style. There's also a Sony camera.
Yeah, Connor has the Sony one.
Yeah, the Sony one's interesting because it's got active stabilization, but it's kind of weird because you see like the helmet moving around while it's trying to stabilize the camera,
Mm,
and the audio is like hot trash.
They're also white.
Yeah,
so
they
you
are.
have to do something about the.
Yeah.
There's a
bottom.
bunch on eBay.
And they're also
For
brand new.
contours. 4K, it's 60 frames a second.
Yeah, this is a
Dope.
Contour 4K, Contour HD camera, 4K waterproof
Dave, whatever
helmet.
happened to your
Keep
contour
in mind
4K?
the Contour HD is from 2012.
So I have the 4K contour. I just never wear it. It still works. I always find the same thing happens, right? When you wear a camera and you turn it on,
Nothing cool.
Nothing
happens.
happened.
nothing.
Zero.
When are you gonna make gameplay footage?
Me?
The players want to know. It's
Come
the
on, Dave.
secret to winning games.
Instead of the swamp sniper, you could be the woods infantryman.
The wood Sasquatch.
Follow Dave, win games.
Yeah.
Sand squatch.
The Sam Squanch.
Yeah.
Hairy all the way to the
All
head.
the way to the head. I'd rather go in the woods and play drums. The Sam Squanch is a curious beast.
I know we'll never find Sasquatch, right?
There's also like fun.
Why
I
did-
guess,
why-
I
why
guess
don't
we'll
they-
never know.
I feel like
Why don't they find Sasquatch?
Because when Sasquatch finds you, he fucks you.
Oh,
that I didn't
How
know
does
they
that
that
just,
was
don't wanna,
quickly?
they just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, no one's gonna believe the guy who comes out from the woods all fucking disheveled, like, I found the Sasquatch, but he fucked me. Like, I don't believe that guy.
I feel like we sneak.
It's like fucking sandpaper.
Oh shit. That makes a lot of sense,
It does.
actually.
Right?
You know, aliens don't fuck you because people talk about being abducted by aliens all the time.
They talk about them doing
anal
things with,
probe.
with your butthole.
Every story
Yeah, I
ends
guess
with a
you're right.
fucking anal probe.
Maybe they're
We're back to
maybe
the
they just-
aliens.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're back.
Maybe they're trying to gather our
They do-
butthole prints. Our
They do lots
BHPs.
of stuff with your butthole and like the ET finger, but they don't actually fuck you, which makes it okay.
Have
Yeah, they
you
just wanna
heard
test
of
the elasticity? You know,
The what?
Like-
The elasticity. They're checking your BHP, if we're being honest here.
Yeah, yeah.
the magnetic pole shifting?
All right.
okay.
Right, hold on. We don't want to get into this.
No.
I have.
I mean, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
It happens all the time. It's happening right now.
But do you think like every 20 to 100,000 years or so that like the fucking poles actually shift and the whole planet
Yeah, I
Rotates?
think the planet
The
rotates.
planet
yeah,
does rotate.
every day.
and
Yeah.
but
No,
like
it's flat.
The poles are
Spins.
magnetic
It's
poles.
like a plate.
It's not
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
like a
not.
cable.
It's not like changing how it rotates the planet. It's just the magnetic poles.
but do you think it causes like a huge catastrophe?
No,
We're-
Like
it's happening.
cataclysm?
It would.
We
It would
as
fuck
a
with a lot of our,
civilization-
like,
And that's why there
electronic
was an ancient civilization where Antarctica currently is, and why the desert actually used to be so beautiful and lush.
No, the poles have shifted a bunch of times in the history of the Earth.
Hoffman, what do you think?
Okay.
You're really quiet on this. I
I'd
feel
like
you
to
have
move on.
something to say. I'd like to move on.
Something
You,
else.
you want to move on to
They-
the next?
They got something written down that we could.
I got some.
Okay.
You want to
I guess
move
so.
on to the next polar shift?
All right. So since we're talking about it, of the cryptids,
Fuck yeah. Here we go.
which one is most likely to be real? And this can be any cryptid.
Oh, the
About
Sasquatch.
Mothman or now why Sam Squanch?
Because the closest thing to a Sam Squanch is an Australopithecus, and that's actually real. If you go back through like the lineage of like Homo sapien and then whatever all the other ones, then we have monkeys. Australopithecus is a real thing.
Okay.
I'm quoting Rogan, and I know none of the shit firsthand.
Classic Sean.
yeah.
I think
Quote something.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
giant humans. I think giant people
Oh,
that were like
the Easter Island fucking
fucking like
Yeah.
10, 15 feet tall.
the giant sloth is real too.
Yeah, because we had more oxygen on the planet and all life was bigger.
It's true.
And we have fucking skeletons being dug up of some huge motherfuckers that like, yeah.
Yeah, but we have tall people now.
Do I believe that they are the offspring of people and angels? I don't know, but there are some big fucking skeletons. That's pretty observable.
I've never
can see
heard
that.
that. They had.
Well, that's the
anything to do with
biblical
angels.
story, but like,
Oh, okay.
we're still digging up huge fucking skeletons. I think that's pretty
there are
interesting.
giants in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we killed them all, and God was
Why?
like,
The reason we haven't
I'm flooding
found
you
dragons
motherfuckers.
is
You
because-
mean?
reason we have found dragons is because they're bird lizard hybrids.
Actually, interesting
Yeah.
fact. Every civilization has a dragon myth.
Yeah, and they're all fairly similar.
Yeah. They all breathe fire
Yeah.
and like flying shit.
And
Really
every
weird.
civilization has a great flood that destroyed humanity and started
And-
it again.
And we're actually overdue for some kind of like global fucking disaster.
We're overdue of a
Yeah.
of a magnetic pole shift by like 100-something-thousand years, like a long time.
No, we're overdue for like a population killer.
Hoff is just slowly getting angrier.
Does Hoffman give you
The
Matt
disaster.
Wall?
The disaster we're all overdue
Walsh.
for is
Matt Walsh
this
vibes,
current
yeah.
conversation.
yeah.
Hoff, so I've told you that you give me Matt Walsh vibes.
I don't know. What that is.
I can't believe you haven't like listened to him. Sean, are you gonna look him up?
No,
Matt Walsh is this like commentator
No.
on YouTube.
I know who he is.
He's just such a reasonable conservative
He's
dad
over the top.
figure.
though. No, he's over the top, dude. He brings in religion involved. Once you bring religion into any of your arguments, to me anyway, you invalidate yourself.
But that's not what makes Hoffman remind me of Matt Walsh.
Hoffman's just a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Hoffman's exterior.
28 going on 68. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
He like lived
I
through
kind of
the-
love it though.
through the
I don't know
depression.
why. I'd like that he's grumpy.
Hoffman's a 70-year-old stuck in a 28-year-old's body.
It's like 13 going on 30, but reverse.
Yes.
30 going on 13.
I love that movie. By the way.
13 going on 30.
Let's talk about it.
It's great.
What do you love about it?
I like the little dollhouse with like the sparkles on it.
I never seen it, so
I like the thriller dance they all do in the
Oh,
club.
that's good. Yeah. They all just happen to know it.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched Tulsa King?
No.
I don't even know what that is.
Man,
Is that like Tiger King, but Oklahoma?
Oh, Jesus.
Tiger King.
if Tiger King was Stallone and he was a mob boss,
Adrian.
then sure.
So I've actually watched a little bit of Tulsa King. That show is awesome.
Oh, it's great.
10 out of 10. Sean, you would love that.
Luckily, nobody here's seen it, so we can't talk about it.
Perfect. Moving on.
I play a game with Dave sometimes during open play where we try to like associate one of the refs with a character from The Office.
Does
Oh.
Dave actually play this game as well, or
He
it's just
does,
you?
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I get into it.
Like Jordan's obviously Dwight. He has to be Dwight. There's this video of the actor who played Dwight saying some
Rainn Wilson.
shit that he was just saying some shit that Jordan would say. So now it's like Dwight's turning into Jordan.
I think Hoffman is Bernard.
I thought I was more of a Kevin,
I thought you were Stanley.
but specifically when he spills the chili.
No, you're not. You're not as doofy as Kevin. Actually, Kevin's kind of pretending to be dumb through that show, but no.
Oscar. I think I'm an Oscar.
Oh, you could be an Oscar.
Are you trying to tell us something?
Okay.
I'm good with numbers.
Oh,
Who's Sean though?
I have no idea.
Who's a hothead?
You think Sean's a hothead?
Sean? Are you kidding me? You never played Tarkov with him.
Oh man.
Oh, I didn't even. Okay.
Everybody.
Sean, you're Roy.
I forgot all about Stanley. I think I'm Stanley.
I think
Oh,
you're Stanley.
That's what I was thinking of.
Did I stutter?
What did I say, Bernard? I said Bernard the first time. No, Stanley. That's what I was thinking of. Did us?
Yeah.
I love the gif where it's just
Oh,
him
Sean's
rolling
Daryl.
the eyes.
Sean's Daryl.
Which one's Daryl?
I
Worked in the warehouse.
worked in the
No,
warehouse.
I think
Forget the actor's
Oh,
name.
Craig
yeah.
Robinson.
Craig Robinson.
Okay.
I think Ronnie's Daryl. Just personality wise, man.
I don't know.
Because like he runs the warehouse, you know, and Ronnie's got that like managerial type of
No, I completely
quality.
on a fundamental level. I completely.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's fight about it. Let's go.
Oh my god.
I think the worst airsoft experience I've had though is Ball Car 1.
So that's not a bad airsoft experience. That's just a bad
Weather.
weather
Outdoors experience in general.
I mean, 40 degrees and raining.
Was it worse than Siberia?
Yes, because it was wet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd also never camped before.
But it got better.
Okay. So
Yeah, it did.
It was also new to you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Arguably the absolute worst combination of things that could happen
Yeah.
all at once. No, all cloud cover, no illumination, thick treetop, 42 degrees, downpour,
And big ruts in the road
big
that filled with water.
lakes to walk through.
So for context, Tyler, our first Milsom West game was AOV.
That was bad too.
This was just that, but a little bit colder.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It was rough. And we, of course, we're NATO, right? So we get ambushed immediately.
Yep.
It's just the way it works. So confusion sets in, and like it's really hard. It's hard to see even with night vision. So now you're getting muzzle flash in front and then muzzle flash to the side. I think I shot Nick
Yep.
because I was just like, who's this? Anyway, I watched little Dave was in front of me, and all he was doing was crossing the road. And there was like a little puddle in the road. And so he crosses, and he's just going to step in the puddle because we're already all soaked at this point. And he went down to his waist. That little puddle was a freaking massive pothole. He went down into his waist and then tried to roll out of it. So then his entire pack got like dipped in the water and rolled out. And I just started laughing. And then I moved up, fell in the same freaking hole because I didn't see it. And I was wet all the way up to my freaking my belt line.
The warming fire.
And then they're like, okay, so once we gaggle fuck our way through that ambush, because it was rough, our cadre was just like, look, just get us to the base of the mountain. And I had that Garmin GPS that I had overlaid their map with, and I was like, let's get after it. We just went, and we got to a point, and I was like, plant a flag in the ground, like we're here. And then when the sun came up, we were right at the base of the ridge. It was a perfect spot.
We were in the best spot too.
Yeah.
Are
And,
you guys playing the MSW in PA in May?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
Got other stuff.
I'm
Yep.
thinking about it.
where?
It's the same one that we went to in September. It's ball car.
It's like 2.5 hours away.
But there's a lot of stuff going on. Like it's, I believe, the weekend before AMS at the field.
Oh, yeah, no. I can't go to that.
And isn't there some game just before Mutsu that we're gonna do?
Yes.
It's the weekend before.
Grimnir.
Grimnir, but it's the same weekend as Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Oh,
Oh, I can easily change that. I know the guy who's running it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I
Heard
meant to
he's a
bring
dick.
that up. The same weekend you did Crossroads as the Grimnir game skirmish.
oh, I kind of want to go
June
to that.
10th, I think.
Yeah. Well, good thing we just did the video.
We can reshoot that when we're done.
Yeah. Well,
It's been an hour and a half, boys.
all right.
I think we're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you all 3 generations of refs from the old school, the medium school, and the new school.
Mhm.
Guys, thanks for joining us. Everybody else have a great night.
Do you have any dad advice before we go?
Oh, we should.
You're a dad now.
You are dad.
Your pee is stored in your balls.
It is.
Always eat yellow snow.
Mm.
And the best way to pee is hanging upside down.
Yes.
A lot of urine-based advice.
Yes.
That's where my head's at right now.
Yeah.
I got to piss like crazy.
I have that advice.
Oh, go.
My Airsoft dad advice to all you Airsoft players out there listening is to clean your barrels.
Yeah.
I agree with that. To clean, you have to swab your barrels. A lot of your problems are coming from
No,
you
not
swabbing
swab.
your barrel.
Not swab. Clean.
Define clean.
Did you say swab or swap?
Swab.
Oh, swab. Okay, yeah.
The only way you can fix your gun is by buying brand new parts at AntecAirsoftStudios.com.
Yep. You're welcome.
I never clean my barrel. I don't know.
I just give it to Hoff and he cleans it and then yells at me.
I don't clean mine, but it's research. I want to see how much it can take.
That's called laziness.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of barrels to.
From
Swab.
someone who's gone through like several thousand rounds in a saw in a single game, it takes a lot.
Yeah. It's like the BB residue just makes the barrel not smooth anymore, and the BBs just don't fly right.
It's all fake. Nothing's real.
Or sometimes you pay a lot of money for a saw.
I
With
shot
a lifetime warranty.
I shot so many rounds out of my airsoft gun that the bore is smooth now. Completely shot the rifling out of it. Do you remember when they made rifled airsoft barrels?
The TK twist.
Yes.
Yeah, Tanio Koba.
Didn't Modify make those?
That's such a stupid fucking concept.
And then
No, it's not.
Hunter Seeker made
You're shooting-
dartles.
You're shooting a ball. It doesn't
That
spiral.
That was an April Fool's thing.
No, he
No.
actually made those.
Did he?
Those were a thing. Yeah.
Oh no, the golf ball BBs were an April Fool's thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The dartles, they were like, there was basically a miniature Nerf
Yeah.
football,
Yep.
but
Oh my
made of
God.
plastic.
So a bullet.
Yes.
And he was
somewhat.
shooting them out of
A flechette.
Tanyo twists. Yeah.
With like really good results.
I bet he was
Yeah.
because he's making a flechette round.
But it was
Also-
also like an HPA
Yeah.
M700 sniper rifle.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah, it was a bolt action you had to load manually because
Yeah.
of the rounds. But also with those TK twist
feasible.
barrels, the prime velocity for that was like 310, 320 FPS.
Yeah.
So even though he was shooting basically a flechette round with a rifled barrel, he was only shooting it at like 300 FPS, but he was still getting 500 feet of accuracy.
Yeah, but you catch that in the neck.
That's
bro.
ridiculous.
You're gonna get it.
Thwack.
Yeah.
Do you have any dad advice, Tyler?
I'm not a dad.
But you work for Apple, or at least you did. I told the people at work that he used to work at Apple.
People believe him. They're like, oh,
Yeah, I was like,
I told you.
You
That's why
look
you're
like an Apple Store genius. I don't know what.
That's why you're in my phone.
dude, I
is
pretty
Apple
much
Store
am.
Tyler.
I'm an Apple Store genius for my parents. I'm just the tech guy.
Tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through my job now, I am the tech guy now. It's just,
I am the tech guy now.
You have embodied the Apple Store.
Look at me. I am the tech guy.
That's terrible.
I had a question for you. When you were in the military, did you use UTMs a lot or no?
So it wasn't UTMs because those weren't invented yet.
Oh, okay.
We used muskets. No.
Wax bullets.
Yeah. No, we used simunitions.
Is it
what's the
the same
difference
thing?
between simunition and UTM?
Simunitions.
Companies.
Simunitions is a different company, right? UTM is a relatively new, not well.
Is the technology different?
Yes. So simunition back then, and I can only speak from my experience, and so there was only two calibers, right? There was 9mm and 5.56, but all the like M4, M16 uppers that you swapped out were chambered in 9mm.
Mm-hmm.
It was only the saws that had linked ammunition that had the 5.56. That could just be a Marine Corps thing, lack of funding, whatever the hell. I mean, really, the difference is the projectile and like the ignition system. The UTM has a different. It's like a different shaped projectile, and the ignition system's weird. There's like 2 BBs inside that do magical shit. I learned this all at the New York Tactical Officers Association.
NITOA.
Yeah.
And they just have like shit range. They're not accurate.
Like,
Like, do they just like not have a reliable like?
After a certain
MOA?
distance, they
just
turn to
fall
absolute
off.
dog shit.
UTM or simunition?
Both.
Okay.
They just fall off. It's
Is airsoft better?
yes. Here's the only difference. Here's the reason why UTM is where it's at. You can use your own rifle, right? With UTM specifically, all you have to do is take out the bolt. So you put in a blue bolt, boom, it's your rifle, and it cycles the bolt. It's got perceived recoil, whatever. But the thing that they like, right? Because the reason why I was at the New York Tactical Officers Association was because we were trying to bring airsoft into the training space, right? And everybody was like, "Yeah, it's a great idea. They shoot way better. They shoot way further. It's way better." But they don't mark the target. And I was like, my argument was, whatever role player you're working with is going to be able to tell you, like, "Yeah, you hit me right fucking here."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the officer, whether he admits it or not, he knows he got shot. You know what I mean? So the training's still there. I mean, but they were always like, "No, we got to mark it because of adrenaline and all this stuff." And I was like, man, I've been through a bunch of training and I've never had adrenaline spiked in training.
Maybe initially, if it's when it's brand new, but after you do a few reps of it,
Yeah.
it goes away.
Like once you realize it,
Yeah.
none of it hurts. You know, I'm actually, I did take a shot point blank to my arm somewhere, and that did hurt. But other than that, I mean, it's a useful training tool for like CQB stuff. But anything up to that,
Do you think in a military exercise they'd be better off using airsoft?
no, they'd be better off using blanks and Miles gear
Okay.
because of the scale.
I've heard people just say Miles gear sucks.
Yes, the original.
Isn't that Vietnam era? Didn't they use something
No.
like that in Vietnam?
No, I had it in SOI.
I feel like
But
they've had something like that.
it's a better system for the scale,
For the range.
right? Like military operations happen over scale, over miles, right?
Yeah.
There's movement in, movement out. It has to be over that type of scale, and airsoft just can't provide over that type of scale. So like your support by fire positions, they're not going to be up close. You know what I mean? And also the units that we worked with, when you got shot, it would turn your gun off, the laser on your gun. So yeah, you could still make noise and shoot, but you weren't registering any hits. So it was like you couldn't cheat. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could waste a bunch of blanks, but you couldn't like cheat. You know what I mean? And they had cool stuff. They had this like God gun that would simulate mortar, like 60, 81s, and then artillery. Like it would create like a blast radius. It also worked as like a medicing thing. You could just randomly medic people. I think Miles is probably a much better system for the military.
Okay.
I think law enforcement can absolutely benefit from airsoft.
Yep.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Because UTM and sim is expensive as shit.
Yeah.
Hold on, before we have to preface this.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, what do you do for a living?
I'm a police officer.
There you go. So he knows what he's talking about when he
Fucking
says,
pig.
Yeah, right.
"Oh, jeez, jeez."
Jordan, censor that.
You got it.
But leave the part where he says censor that.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
UTM and sim are expensive as fuck to run.
Yeah.
The reason that police departments like to run it is because all they have to do is buy a new slide and new barrel.
Yeah.
So a lot of them see like the upfront cost being cheaper because like, oh, it's only like $30 a box of ammo and like $500 for a slide. But then you run one 2-day training event for a 10-man department, you're out fucking like $4,000.
Yeah.
Whereas if you spend $7,000 ish on airsoft guns, you can use the BBs for months.
Yeah.
Because you get 5,000 BBs in a bottle. Like, and like the whole perceived recoil thing, it's what is it, notional? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
Like, as long as you're perceiving some kind of recoil, it doesn't matter. Like you understand you need to mitigate whatever it is you're dealing with.
And honestly, between simunitions, speaking in terms of pistols, simunitions and airsoft, it's very much the same.
It's Sim or UTM. They have a little bit more because it's an actual legit steel slide.
Yeah.
But it's not much.
But you also shoot real steel. So you're still
Yes.
getting those reps in for recoil,
Correct.
and ballistics,
Yeah.
just on a different occasion.
West Point suffers from the same thing.
Yep.
They should be like they need to do their drills with the guns and learn how to room clear. But like I tell the team that I work with all the time at West Point, like you guys should just play some fucking airsoft.
Yeah.
Like you'll learn a lot. Like they're learning shit that you just learn intuitively from playing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what airsoft is, right? So think about how we've come up in the modern military, how we've come up with all of our tactics and stuff. I'll use CQB as an example, right?
Yeah.
Like how we learned how to pie stuff off. You know why? Because somebody ran up to a door straight on and got murdered.
Yeah.
And then the guy behind him was like, oh, I shouldn't do that. And then he came up to the doorway and peeked his head around. Boom, got destroyed. And then the third guy was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have my rifle up. And then he peeks out and dies. And then like that's how you have to learn. So it takes 50, 60 years
Yeah.
to learn something as simple as like pieing off a door.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in airsoft, and this is in no way me saying that airsoft is a good training tool or better than the training in military, that's not it at all. But I'm just saying that the repetitions that you can get in airsoft from the average player just dying and go back to respawn and remembering like, hey, I shouldn't, peek my face around the corner first. It's just naturally going to evolve faster than it would in real life because you're not sacrificing anybody's lives. And you're not just relying on anecdotal evidence like, oh, I think when he ran around the corner, I think he was thinking this, but when we came around, he was just a pile of goo. So
Yeah.
I sat in a CQB lecture, and there were some points that I didn't know that I knew. They're talking like fundamental stuff. There's just things that to me just like I knew it. I didn't know that like I knew it, but these are things I just did, and I'm just like, duh. It's just from playing airsoft. Like, of course, when you have multiple people going into a room, you want to see the most things. Find work. Don't have like everybody looking in the same spot. It seems intuitive, but this is a point that has to be emphasized.
I remember
To people that don't have any experience with it. So airsoft is good in some regard. It's just not the same as being a Navy SEAL.
It's a really good it's a good training medium as long as you understand the limitations of it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to an open play, but I'm gonna get some good reps in today, you're gonna have a really bad time.
Or you're going to be by yourself.
Yeah. Or if you and 5 to 10 friends get together and go, hey, we're gonna train today, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Open play is great for just like shaking down your kit. Like going in the prone, diving around, you realize you hate your belt, your plate carrier, whatever, and adjusting shit. That's what open play is like good for.
But I do have to point out, we are making a lot of leaps between real and fake here. I just want to, the official stance of not only myself, but Zulu 24 is that airsoft is to real war like T-ball is to Major League Baseball. Like that's how far away it really is. I mean, we can talk tactics and all this stuff all day, but there's no comparison.
Did my T-ball coach lie to me too?
Yes, your T-ball coach fucking lied to you.
Hey, you're still hitting the ball.
Well, gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys. Unless you guys got something else you want to talk
Is
about.
that really it?
That was all on the list.
That's it,
Damn,
baby.
That was it.
But let's wrap this one up.
Yeah, off the rails, guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for having a good time.
Thanks for having us.
This was fun.
I love you like men love other men.
Okay, we're done.
You can cut that. You can cut that.
Leave it in.